The night sky above the colony was quiet, filled with stars that looked like tiny silver fires. The humans in the settlement were used to this silence. Life on the edge of the galaxy was not easy, but it was peaceful. People worked during the day and rested during the night, far away from the wars and politics of bigger worlds. But on this night, something new happened, something that would change their lives forever. A strange light appeared high above the horizon. At first, many thought it was a meteor, a bright stone falling through the darkness. Children pointed and laughed, and adults stood outside their homes to watch. But then the light slowed down. It did not fall like a rock. It moved with purpose, steady and controlled, until a giant shadow spread across the stars. It was a ship, an alien ship. The humans had seen pictures of alien craft before, but never with their own eyes. The settlement was small, forgotten by governments, and never considered important. Yet here, in the middle of nowhere, a ship was landing. Dust rose into the air as the alien vessel touched the ground outside the colony gates. Its metal skin glowed faintly, alive with strange symbols that no human could read. The sound was deep, a low hum that seemed to travel through the bones of everyone watching. Fear spread quickly. Some wanted to run back inside, to hide, but others stayed frozen, curious. The leader of the colony, an old man named Harris, came forward. His face was calm, but his eyes betrayed his worry. He raised his hand to silence the whispers. "Stay together," he said, his voice firm but low. "Do not panic. Let us see what they want." The ship's ramp opened slowly, releasing a hiss of air like a sigh. A group of tall figures stepped out. They were aliens, taller than most humans, their skin pale with faint patterns that shimmered under the moonlight. Their eyes were large and dark, reflecting every light like glass. They did not walk with weapons raised. Instead, they stood in a line, their movements controlled and graceful. One of them stepped forward, wearing a robe marked with glowing designs. This alien raised both hands in a gesture that seemed peaceful. Its voice came, not from its mouth, but inside the minds of every human present. "We come in peace. We seek only understanding." Murmurs broke out among the crowd. The voice was soft, almost gentle, but the way it appeared directly inside their heads made many shiver. Harris swallowed hard but stepped closer. "Who are you? Why have you come here?" The alien tilted its head as if studying him. Then it spoke again in that same mind voice. "We are the Shydor. We travel across the stars to learn, to see, to know. We read the minds of many races, and from their thoughts we understand them. We wish to understand you." The humans looked at each other, uncertain. Reading minds? The idea was terrifying. No one wanted their private thoughts exposed. Still, the Shydor leader gestured behind itself, and another alien stepped forward. This one was different. Its eyes glowed faintly, and its hands moved slowly in the air, as though it could feel something invisible. The leader's voice filled their minds again. "This is our mind reader. It can touch and know the truth of your kind. With only one touch, it will see what makes you human." The crowd grew restless. A mother pulled her child back. Men whispered angrily, and others shook their heads. Harris raised his hand again to calm them. His voice was steady, though his heart raced. "And if we refuse?" For the first time, the alien leader's eyes narrowed. The glow on its robe pulsed like a heartbeat. "Then we leave," the voice said, but without understanding, without truth. Harris looked at the people behind him. He saw fear, suspicion, but also curiosity. These humans lived far from the great centers of power. No one ever came here. No one ever noticed them. Yet these aliens had chosen this colony, this night, this moment. He felt a strange responsibility, as if history itself waited for his decision. Slowly, he nodded. "One of us will step forward," he said. A ripple of shock went through the crowd. The alien leader bowed slightly, its eyes glowing brighter. The mind reader moved closer, its steps silent on the dust. Its presence was heavy, like invisible weight pressing down on everyone's chest. Harris turned to the people, searching for someone brave enough, or foolish enough, to volunteer. Silence fell. No one moved. Finally, a man stepped forward. He was not a soldier, not a leader, just a worker from the fields. His name was Daniel, and he looked ordinary, almost forgettable. But his eyes were calm. He did not tremble as others expected. He walked until he stood before the alien, meeting its black, glassy eyes without fear. Harris whispered his name in shock, but Daniel only raised his chin. The alien mind reader lifted one hand slowly, reaching out, its fingers long and strange. The humans held their breath. The moment of contact was near, and no one knew what would happen next. The crowd stood in silence as Daniel faced the alien mind reader. The night was cold, but a strange heat seemed to rise from the ship as if the air itself was alive. The mind reader was taller than Daniel, its long, thin fingers moving slowly like the legs of a spider, and its glowing eyes fixed on him without blinking. The other aliens stood still behind it, their robes shining with faint patterns that looked almost like stars. The leader of the aliens had promised peace, but every human present felt the weight of fear pressing against their chests. Daniel did not move. His face was calm, though inside his mind his thoughts ran wild. He wondered why he had stepped forward, why out of all the people in the colony it had to be him. He had always thought of himself as ordinary. He worked in the fields, he fixed machines when they broke, and he lived his life without drawing much attention. And yet something deep inside him told him not to hide, not to run, but to face this moment. The alien mind reader raised its hand higher, stopping just before Daniel's forehead. A soft humming sound filled the air, like energy crackling, but too quiet to see. The humans behind Daniel gasped, and some even turned away, unable to watch. Harris, the colony leader, clenched his fists, ready to call out if things went wrong, but no sound came from his lips. The alien mind reader finally spoke, not with a voice, but directly inside Daniel's mind. "I will see," it whispered. "I will know." Daniel felt the touch before it even happened, a strange pressure against his skull, a vibration that spread through his bones. Then the alien's fingers touched his forehead, and a flood of sensation rushed into him. The world around him seemed to dissolve. For a moment, he could see nothing but endless darkness, and in that darkness there were flashes of memory, not only his, but something deeper, something older. The alien gasped softly, its body trembling. The other aliens leaned forward, their eyes glowing brighter, as if expecting to share in the discovery. The humans held their breath, afraid to speak, afraid even to move. Daniel felt the alien inside his head, searching through his thoughts, his memories, his emotions. It pulled at moments from his childhood, the laughter of his friends, the loss of his parents, the hunger during the hard years, the warmth of fire on cold nights. But did not stop there. The alien pushed deeper, far beyond what Daniel could understand, into dreams, into fears, into the strange place where imagination and memory mixed together. It saw images of war, battles Daniel had never fought, but had heard about from history books and stories. It saw the great cities of Earth, shining with towers of steel and glass, and it saw them burning in fire during old wars. It saw human hands reaching out to help each other, and human hands holding weapons against each other. The alien trembled harder, its glowing eyes flickering wildly. Daniel felt his own heartbeat quicken, as if the alien's fear was his own. The connection grew stronger, almost painful, and Daniel wanted to pull away but could not. The alien's voice echoed inside his mind again, this time louder and broken. So much, too much, endless pain, endless strength, endless. Its words cut off into a scream that only Daniel could hear inside his skull. But the scream was so sharp that his knees buckled. The humans around him saw the alien suddenly stagger, its hand still on Daniel's head. A sound burst from the alien's throat at last, a high-pitched cry that pierced the night air. Daniel stumbled back, clutching his head, but the alien fell to its knees. Its body shook violently, and its eyes rolled back into its skull. The other aliens shouted in their own language, rushing forward to catch it before it hit the ground. Daniel fell on the dust, panting hard, his skin pale but alive. The humans erupted into noise, shouts of panic and confusion filling the night. Mothers pulled their children away, men shouted questions at Harris, and others simply stood frozen in shock. Harris himself could not believe what he had just seen. He had expected the alien to learn something, to perhaps reveal some hidden truth, but he had not expected this. The mind reader was collapsing. Its hand twitched, and its mouth moved, whispering broken words. Fire, war, death, hope, creation, destruction, humanity. Its body jerked again before it finally went limp, unconscious in the arms of its companions. The alien leader's calm face broke for the first time. Its eyes widened, and the glowing symbols on its robe flickered violently, as though disturbed by something unseen. The other aliens looked around with clear fear, their confidence shattered. One of them hissed something in their strange tongue and stepped back, as if even standing near Daniel was dangerous. The humans slowly turned their eyes to Daniel, who sat on the ground, breathing heavily. He looked ordinary still, dusty, and tired, but now there was something in the way people stared at him. It was not the look of neighbors seeing a worker from the fields. It was something else, a mixture of fear and awe. Harris walked quickly to him, kneeling at his side. "Daniel, are you all right?" he asked in a harsh whisper. Daniel looked at him, sweat dripping from his brow, and nodded weakly. "I think so," he said, his voice shaking. But deep inside, he knew something was wrong. He could still feel the echo of the alien scream inside his skull, as though a door had been opened in his mind that should have stayed closed. The alien leader finally spoke again, its voice now filled with unease. "This has never happened before," it said. "Never in all our journeys. What are you?" And as the humans stood in confusion and the aliens stood in fear, the night air grew colder, and the silence that followed was heavier than any scream. Daniel sat on the ground, his chest rising and falling quickly as if he had just run a long distance. The alien mind reader lay unconscious in the arms of its companions, its pale skin trembling, its eyes closed but twitching as if trapped in a nightmare. The colony was filled with noise, humans whispering, shouting, asking questions that no one could answer. Harris stood tall, his face pale in the moonlight, his eyes fixed on the alien leader, demanding silently for an explanation. The alien leader's face was calm, but no longer confident. Its dark, glassy eyes looked from Daniel to the fallen mind reader, and then to the crowd of humans, studying them as if seeing them for the first time. The glowing symbols on its robe pulsed like a heartbeat, faster than before, betraying its unease. One of the aliens tried to lift the mind reader back to its feet, but its body went limp and heavy, its breath ragged. It spoke only a few broken words in a trembling voice, words that made the other aliens step back in fear. Too deep, too endless, fire and shadow. The human mind cannot. Then its voice trailed off into silence again, leaving the night heavy with confusion. The humans began to murmur louder, their fear mixing with suspicion. Some shouted that the aliens should leave. Others demanded to know what had just happened. A mother clutched her child tightly, whispering prayers under her breath. The colony had always been forgotten by the universe, yet now something impossible had unfolded before their eyes, and it was happening to them, here in their small forgotten corner. Harris raised his voice, trying to calm his people, but his own words shook. "Enough," he said. "Stay calm. We must listen before we decide." His voice carried across the crowd, but he could not silence their fear completely. The alien leader stepped forward, its tall frame casting a long shadow across the ground. Its voice filled every human mind again, soft yet edged with tension. "This is not what we expected. The mind reader has seen into countless species, yet never has it fallen, never has it broken. Your kind, your minds, they are not what we thought." Its words only fueled the fear of the humans. Some backed away from Daniel, as if he carried a disease. Others stared at him with wide eyes, wondering what power lived inside his mind that could defeat such a creature. Daniel himself did not understand. His head still rang with the echoes of the alien scream, and in the back of his thoughts, he could feel something else, something restless that had been touched, but not fully revealed. He wanted to stand, but his legs felt weak. He wanted to speak, but no words formed. Finally, he lifted his eyes toward the alien leader and forced his voice out. "What did it see?" he asked, his voice quiet but strong enough to carry. The alien leader tilted its head, as though weighing whether to answer. At last it spoke. "Your mind is unlike any we have known. It is not only memory. It is not only thought. It is a storm endless and wild. Pain and love, hope and despair, creation and destruction. All of it at once. For us, to see it is like staring into a sun. Too bright, too vast, too dangerous." Daniel blinked, confused, while the humans around him shifted uncomfortably. The alien's words sounded more like a warning than an explanation. The fallen mind reader stirred again, gasping for breath, its voice broken and desperate. "Endless fire, endless war, endless hope. The human cannot be touched again. No one must." Then it collapsed once more into silence. The other aliens looked at their leader, their fear growing more obvious. One of them shook its head violently, whispering in their strange language, but the humans could feel the panic in their gestures. Daniel finally pushed himself up to his feet. His legs trembled, but he stood tall, meeting the alien leader's dark gaze. "I don't understand," he said. "I'm just one man. I'm nothing special. Why will my mind do this?" The alien leader's glow dimmed slightly, its voice colder now. "It is not only you. If your ordinary mind can shatter a reader, then what of all your kind together? What will happen if we try to understand the whole of humanity? Perhaps some truths are too dangerous, even for us." The humans grew restless again. Some shouted that the aliens should leave. Others warned that Daniel himself might now be dangerous. Harris tried to calm them, but even he could not hide the worry in his eyes. Daniel stood alone, caught between two worlds, his own people who now feared him, and the aliens who seemed both terrified and fascinated. The silence after the shouting was heavy, broken only by the faint hum of the alien ship. The night air grew colder, and the stars above seemed sharper, as though the universe itself leaned closer to watch. The alien leader's final words of the night sent a chill through everyone. "This was only the first touch," it said softly, its voice echoing in every mind. "And it has already changed everything." The colony stood frozen in silence, their eyes locked on the alien mind reader who lay limp on the ground, its chest rising and falling in uneven gasps. The air was thick with dust from the landing, and the faint hum of the alien ship still vibrated through the earth, but no one seemed to notice. Every human, every alien, was staring at the same thing. The collapse of a creature that had claimed to read the thoughts of countless species without fail. Now it was broken, defeated by a single touch of an ordinary man. Harris's heart pounded in his chest. He could feel the fear spreading through the people like fire, their whispers rising higher with every passing second. He raised his hand for silence, but the voices of panic were not easy to quiet. "What is happening?" someone shouted. "What did he do?" another cried. A few pointed at Daniel, who still stood unsteady on his legs, his face pale, but his eyes sharp with confusion. Harris knew that if this fear grew unchecked, the crowd might turn against him. But before he could speak, the alien leader raised one hand. Its voice pressed into their minds, sharp and commanding. "Be silent." The sound was not loud, but it was undeniable, and the humans fell quiet though their eyes still burned with questions. The leader turned to its companions, who struggled to lift the mind reader's limp body. Their fear was clear, their hands trembling, their eyes wide. One of them hissed in their own language, a sound filled with alarm, and another backed away as though afraid even to touch their fallen comrade. The leader knelt beside the mind reader, placing a long hand on its chest. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the alien twitched, its glowing eyes snapping open, wide with terror. It screamed again, a sound so piercing and raw that several humans covered their ears and cried out. The sound carried not only through the air but through their minds, like a blade slicing into thought itself. Daniel staggered back as the scream echoed inside his skull. Then just as suddenly, the mind reader went silent. Its mouth moved, whispering broken words. Fire, endless fire, shadows without end, creation born from chaos, destruction born from love. Humans are too much. Its body shivered violently, then went still again. Harris took a step forward, his voice hard though his hands shook. What does it mean? What did it see? His question hung in the air like smoke. The alien leader looked up slowly, its eyes darker than before. Your kind carries storms inside your minds, it said. We have touched warriors, killers, saints, and monsters of 1,000 worlds, but never have we touched a mind like this. In you, everything lives together. Every thought, every dream, every horror. It cannot be contained. It cannot be read. The humans gasped, some shaking their heads in disbelief, others staring at Daniel as though seeing him for the first time. Daniel himself felt weak, his stomach twisting. He had always believed he was ordinary, but now he was being told that even the simple truth of his mind was something that could break another being. He clenched his fists, anger and confusion burning inside him. I did nothing, he said loudly, his voice trembling but strong. I did nothing but stand there. I didn't choose this. His words echoed through the crowd, but the unease did not fade. The humans looked at him with suspicion, as though ordinary words could no longer erase the fear they felt. One man shouted, "Then maybe you should not have stepped forward." A woman cried, "What if he is dangerous now?" Harris turned sharply and raised his arm. "Enough. He is one of us. He has lived here his whole life. Do not forget that." His words slowed the crowd, but did not stop the fear in their eyes. The alien leader stood tall again, its glowing robe pulsing faintly. "This is not about danger," it said. "This is about truth. We wanted to understand you, but now we see there are truths too deep, too wild to be touched. The human mind is not a place of knowledge. It is a place of chaos. To enter it is to drown." The words chilled every soul in the colony. Even the air seemed colder as the meaning sank in. Daniel stepped forward, his voice low. "Then why try again? Leave us. Leave me." The alien leader studied him for a long moment before replying. "Perhaps we must. But before we leave, we must decide what you truly are. If one of you can destroy the mind of a reader, then what are all of you together?" A question too dangerous to leave unanswered. Its words sent ripples of fear through both aliens and humans alike. The mind reader suddenly stirred again, its voice breaking into a whisper that crawled into every ear. Do not ever touch another. If you do, we all will." Its voice broke off in a shudder, its body collapsing once more into stillness. The aliens exchanged fearful looks, their confidence shattered. Daniel stood silently, feeling the weight of every eye upon him, human and alien alike. For the first time in his life, he felt truly separate, as though a wall had risen between him and the rest of the world. He had wanted only to live as a worker, ordinary and unseen, but now he was something else, something no one understood. And as the night stretched on and the stars above watched cold and silent, Daniel realized this was not only about him. Something had changed forever, and nothing in the galaxy would ever see humanity the same way again. The night dragged on with heavy silence, broken only by the shallow breaths of the alien mind reader who lay limp on the ground. Its body twitched from time to time as though trapped in some endless nightmare. The humans stood in a half circle, their faces pale, their eyes filled with both fear and wonder. Daniel stood apart, his hands shaking though he tried to hide it, his mind filled with questions that he could not answer. Harris, the colony leader, kept moving between his people and the aliens, his voice calm, though his heart trembled. He knew the balance was fragile. One wrong word could set his people in a panic or worse, violence. The alien leader stood tall and unmoving, its glowing robe dimmed as though shadows had swallowed its light. Its companions argued quietly in their strange tongue, their voices sharp with fear, their gestures quick and nervous. One of them pointed at Daniel and hissed words that carried the weight of warning. Another shook its head violently and backed away from the mind reader as if it were cursed. The humans noticed, and their fear grew heavier. Some whispered that Daniel had been changed by the alien's touch. Others said he was no longer truly human. Daniel heard every whisper, every fearful word, and each one cut into him like a blade. He wanted to shout that he was still the same man, that he had done nothing but stand still, but the words stuck in his throat. Deep inside, he feared the whispers might be true. Something inside him felt different now, as if the alien scream had left behind an echo that would never fade. Suddenly, the mind reader stirred again. Its eyes opened wide, glowing faintly, and its lips trembled with words that spilled into the night. I saw endless wars, endless burning skies, blood across stars, and yet hope, so strong it blinded me. Love, so fierce it destroyed worlds. Humans, you are endless. Its voice broke into sobs, and it covered its head with long, trembling fingers. The aliens froze, their fear thick as smoke, while the humans stood speechless, unsure whether to be proud or afraid of the words. Harris took a step closer, his voice steady though his breath was short. What do you mean? What hope? What destruction? The mind reader shook its head violently. I cannot. I should not. No one must touch a human again. The mind is too deep, too vast. It will consume us all. With that, it collapsed back into unconsciousness. The alien leader turned slowly, its dark eyes staring into the crowd of humans. Now you see, it said. This is what happens when truth is revealed. We thought to understand you, but your kind cannot be understood. You are too much of everything at once. Too much pain, too much strength, too much love, too much hate. You're storms in flesh. The words spread through the humans like fire. Some muttered in fear. Others clenched their fists with pride. A man shouted from the back, so we are strong, stronger than you. Another woman cried out, or cursed. What if we destroy ourselves? The colony trembled with noise, voices clashing, fear and pride twisting together until no one knew what to feel. Harris raised his arms and shouted for silence, but the storm of voices was too strong. Daniel finally stepped forward, his voice cutting through the chaos though it shook with every word. Enough, he cried. The people turned to look at him, their faces filled with questions and fear. Daniel stood tall, though. He felt small inside, his heart pounding against his ribs. I don't know what that thing saw, he said, pointing toward the fallen mind reader. I don't know why it collapsed, but I do know this. I am still me. I am Daniel. I worked beside you. I ate with you. I lived with you. I am not cursed. I am not changed. Whatever it saw, it belongs to all of us, not just me. His words hung in the air, heavy and raw. Some humans nodded, their eyes softening with recognition, but others still looked at him with doubt, unable to let go of their fear. The alien leader tilted its head, studying Daniel closely. Its voice filled the night once more. Perhaps you speak truth. Perhaps what broke the reader was not you alone, but the weight of your entire kind carried within you. Perhaps every human carries the storm. Its words were like a blade, cutting deeper into the silence. Harris finally spoke again, his voice tired but firm. Then what now? Will you leave us, or will you try again? The alien leader paused, and for the first time its glow flickered uncertainly. We must decide, it said. Some among us say your kind must never be touched again. Others believe we must learn more, no matter the cost. This is the question before us. But know this, your secret is no longer yours. What happened here tonight will echo across the stars. Every world, every empire will hear of the humans whose minds broke a reader. The humans shivered at the words. Their small, forgotten colony was no longer hidden. Daniel clenched his fists, feeling the weight of destiny pressing on his shoulders. He was just a worker, a man who had wanted nothing more than a simple life. But now he stood at the center of something vast, something terrifying. And as the stars glittered coldly above, he knew that nothing would ever be the same again. Daniel stood beneath the cold stars, his body tense, his mind filled with the weight of 1,000 eyes watching him. The humans of the colony looked at him as though he carried some hidden power, some terrible secret that even he did not know. The aliens stood in a cluster, their glowing robes dimmed, their eyes filled with fear and awe. The mind reader remained on the ground, whispering broken words even in its unconscious state, as if trapped inside the storm of Daniel's thoughts forever. Harris stepped closer to Daniel, his hand on the younger man's shoulder, but even he hesitated, as though unsure if Daniel was truly the same. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, trying to steady his breath. He thought of his life before this night, the years spent fixing machines, working in fields, helping neighbors repair broken roofs. He had always been just a man, nothing more, nothing less. But the alien's reaction, its collapse, its screams of endless fire and endless hope, had left a shadow over him. Somewhere deep inside, he felt a stirring, as though something had been unlocked. The alien leader's voice broke the silence, calm but heavy with warning. You ask what happened, but even the reader cannot explain it fully. What it saw inside you is not just memory, not just thought. It was something greater. Humans are not like others. You carry inside you 1,000 paths, 1,000 futures, all colliding at once. No mind should be able to hold so much. Daniel opened his eyes and shook his head. I'm just a man, he said. I'm not a soldier. I'm not a leader. I'm not even a great thinker. I'm just Daniel. The alien leader stepped closer, its shadow stretching long across the dust. And yet in you is everything. Do you not feel it? Your lives are short, but in that shortness, you live more than many races live in centuries. You feel love so deep it drives you to madness, grief so heavy it breaks your soul, hope so bright it blinds you. You imagine worlds that do not exist. You create weapons that can end yourselves. You dream of peace even as you wage war. This is what shattered the reader. Not who you are, but what you are. The words fell like stones into the hearts of the humans listening. Some looked at each other with fear, others with pride, but all of them felt the truth of it. Daniel clenched his fists at his sides. He wanted to deny it, to scream that he was no different, but deep inside he knew the alien spoke truth. He remembered his childhood, when he had dreamed of flying ships and endless stars, when he had cried for days after his parents' deaths, when he had fought hunger with nothing but stubborn will. He remembered moments of joy, of laughter, of pain, of hope. All of it was him, all of it was humanity. The alien leader's gaze did not waver. You ask what secret lies within you. It is this: you are infinite. Other races live in balance, each mind like a straight road. But humans are storms, endless and wild. To touch your mind is to be lost inside it. That is your secret. That is your power. A murmur spread through the humans, their voices uncertain. Some whispered with fear, others with pride. Harris's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Daniel felt the words strike deep within him. He did not want this. He had never asked to be different, never asked to carry the weight of such a truth. But he could not run from it now. The mind reader groaned suddenly, its body twisting. It opened its eyes again, wide with terror, and pointed a shaking finger at Daniel. I saw it, the fire that could consume worlds, but also the light that could save them. I saw love, so fierce it burned brighter than stars. I saw hate, so deep it could tear galaxies apart. The human mind is not a place, it is a universe. With that, it fell silent again, and its body slumped into the arms of its companions. Daniel staggered back, his chest heavy, a universe inside his head. The words felt impossible, but the terror on the alien's face had been real. Harris gripped his arm tightly. Do not let their fear decide who you are, he said in a low voice meant only for Daniel. You are still you. Do not forget that. Daniel nodded weakly, but doubt still gnawed at him. The alien leader turned to its companions, its voice low and filled with unease. We cannot touch them again, it said. To touch another human may destroy us all. But we cannot ignore this. The galaxy must know. The galaxy must prepare. The humans gasped at its words, fear rushing through them like cold wind. Their small colony had always been forgotten, hidden, but now they were at the center of something vast. Daniel raised his head and looked at the alien leader with steady eyes. You came here to read us, he said, his voice steady though his heart shook. "And now you say you will tell the galaxy what you saw. Then hear this. I am not a weapon. I am not a monster. I am just a man. And so is every other human you will ever meet. We are people. Do not forget that." His words hung in the night, sharp and defiant. The alien leader studied him for a long moment, then lowered its head slightly in a gesture that was neither respect nor dismissal. The stars above glittered cold and bright, and every human and alien felt the weight of the future pressing upon them. The secret of humanity was no longer hidden, and the universe would never look at them the same way again. The night had grown colder, and the stars above seemed sharper, as though the universe itself was listening. The humans stood close together, their voices hushed, their hearts heavy with fear and questions. The aliens clustered near their ship, their glowing robes dim, their faces pale with unease. The mind reader lay weak in the arms of its companions, its breathing shallow, its body trembling as though caught in a storm that would never end. Daniel stood between the two groups, no longer only a man of the colony, but something else, something larger. Harris remained at his side, though even he seemed unsure now, his eyes filled with both loyalty and worry. The alien leader finally stepped forward, its tall figure casting a long shadow across the ground. Its voice filled every mind again, heavy with finality. "We came to learn, and we have learned. Your kind is not what we expected. We thought to read you as we read others, but instead we found a storm too vast to endure. Humans are not prey, not puzzle, not subject. You are something beyond understanding." The words echoed like thunder, sinking deep into the hearts of everyone who heard them. Some humans lifted their heads with pride, while others shivered in fear, for the meaning was too heavy to carry. Daniel clenched his fists, his voice low but strong. "Then what happens now? Will you leave us? Will you warn the galaxy against us?" The alien leader tilted its head, its eyes dark and endless. "We will not warn them. We will tell them truth. That humans are storms, infinite and wild. That to touch a human mind is to face creation and destruction at once. That your kind may be the most dangerous force we have ever known, or the greatest hope." Murmurs swept through the colony, confusion and fear mixing like smoke. Harris stepped forward, his voice sharp. "If you tell them this, you put us all in danger. Others may come to fear us. Others may come to test us. You may bring war to our door." The alien leader's eyes glowed faintly, and its voice pressed harder into their minds. "War will come whether we speak or not. The truth cannot be hidden forever. Tonight proves this. One touch was enough to break a reader. Do you think that will remain secret? No. The galaxy will know. It must know." The humans fell into silence, their thoughts heavy. Daniel felt the weight of the words pressing into him like stone. He looked at the mind reader, broken and trembling, and he remembered its scream, its whispered visions of endless fire and endless hope. Slowly he raised his voice, speaking not only to the aliens but to his own people. "If the galaxy must know, then let them know this too. We are not only storms of fire. We are not only endless war. We are hope. We are love. We are creation as much as we are destruction. Do not speak of us as monsters. Speak of us as people." His voice carried into the night, strong and steady, and for a moment even the whispers stopped. The alien leader studied him carefully, its dark gaze unreadable. Then at last it lowered its head slightly, a gesture strange but clear. "Perhaps that is the truth we will speak. Perhaps the galaxy must know both your light and your shadow." Daniel nodded slowly, though inside he still felt the echo of unease. He had not chosen this. He had not asked to carry the weight of his kind. Yet here he stood, the man who had been touched, the man whose mind had broken an alien. Harris placed a firm hand on his shoulder. "You are still one of us," he whispered. "Never forget that." Daniel met his eyes and gave a weak smile. The alien leader turned and gave a signal. Its companions lifted the fallen mind reader and began to walk toward the ship. The crowd of humans parted silently, watching with wide eyes as the aliens carried their broken comrade back into the vessel. The leader lingered for one last moment, its voice filling their minds again. This night will echo across the stars. Remember this. If one human can bring a reader to collapse, what might all of humanity do together? The galaxy will fear you. The galaxy will respect you. But most of all, the galaxy will never ignore you again. With that, it turned and followed its kind into the ship. The ramp rose, the hum of power filled the air, and the great vessel lifted slowly into the sky. Dust swirled in the wake of its departure, and the humans shielded their eyes as the ship vanished into the stars. When the sky was empty again, silence fell heavy over the colony. No one moved, no one spoke, for they all felt the same truth pressing into their hearts. Their lives would never be the same. Daniel looked at the stars where the ship had gone, his face calm, but his eyes filled with storm. He had wanted nothing more than to live a simple life, but the universe had chosen him to reveal what humanity truly was. A secret no longer hidden, a truth no longer denied. Harris stood beside him, and the people of the colony gathered close, still uncertain, still afraid, but bound together by what had been revealed. Daniel whispered quietly, a promise to himself and to the stars. If they fear us, let them fear our strength. If they respect us, let them respect our hope. We are human. We are storms. But we are more than storms. We are endless. His words carried into the cold night, and though no alien mind heard them, the stars above seemed to listen. And somewhere far away, across countless worlds, the story of humanity had already begun to spread.